Hi there, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ron Harders, your host on the Chi-Town Expat Show. And I attended my first class of the Constitution in the classroom this morning. Remember, we had Gayla on last week, and talking about the series of Constitution in the Classroom classes that were going to happen in June. And I went to my first one this morning, and it was pretty interesting. It explains the Constitution and how it affects the average person and why we've had such great luck and such great response as Americans under the Constitution. And it's amazing that the education system in this country has done everything in its power to ruin the average person's understanding of the Constitution and to undermine the country and its understanding and appreciation of the Constitution. And it's all, I think, because they have bought into the Karl Marx idea of the utopia of communism. So let's take a look at Karl Marx's legacy. Actually, that consists of more than 100 million dead. Karl Marx is being celebrated by the Chinese President Xi Jinping as the greatest thinker of modern times. Western academics are celebrating Marx as a historic critic of the modern world. Yet what all the pro-Marxist, pro-socialist speakers ignore is the human cost of Marxism. In the name of Marx, Lenin established a police state which killed millions. Stalin succeeded Lenin and proved even more ruthless and committed to killing. Hitler led the National Socialist German Workers' Nazi Party. And socialism was central to his task, taking over the German economy and the German state, a fact the left makes every effort to avoid. Mao was the deadliest Marxist of all and killed an uncounted number of millions to impose his will on China. Castro turned a prosperous Cuba into a tragic police state in the name of Marxism-Leninism. And Venezuela has been shattered by socialism. The academic left and its news media and Hollywood acolytes cannot confront the horrifying record of Marxism and Marxism's endless inhumanity. This would have been a good year to begin educating all those who have been lied to by the American academic infatuation with Marxism. We need a TV series on Marxism and its evolution through Leninism, Stalinism, Maoism, Castroism, etc. so that Americans could come to grips with the horrors of centralized government and the cost of tyranny. The desire of those with power to get more and more power seems insatiable. Our founding fathers understood this and designed the Constitution to distribute power so no one person could establish a dictatorship. American exceptionalism is the opposite of Leninism. Lenin used Marx's analysis and rhetoric to justify establishing a secret police-controlled totalitarian system. Within a remarkably few years, he had centralized authority and begun to lock up, torture, and kill his critics. When Lenin died, Stalin took his system of centralized power and refined it with even more brutality. Literally millions were starved to death as a matter of policy to break the middle-class farmers. As an example of the grip Marxism had on the American news media and intellectuals at the time, the New York Times reporter in Moscow conspired with other reporters to avoid covering the famine and the mass deaths. Diana West's American Betrayal cites the evidence of this deliberate cover-up. Left-wing academics have always had a soft spot for Marxist regimes. One of the most widely read economic textbook writers and the first American to win a Nobel Prize in economics, Paul Samuelson, told college students in the 1961 edition of his best-selling economics and introductory analysis textbook that the Soviet Union's economy was growing faster than the United States economy. Never true. This incorrect information continued to appear in subsequent editions of the book for more than 2 decades. Today, the left argues that Marxism didn't fail in the Soviet Union, only the way the Russians tried to implement it failed. In fact, I was told by someone who was at dinner with Mikhail Gorbachev and a group of academics that when one of them made that argument, Gorbachev responded, "You would have to be an American professor to believe that." So we're going to pay some bills and we'll be back shortly.
From Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel, from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna, from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha, from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
41, 31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the Search Engine and Digital Marketing Race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
All right, we're back. And let's continue with the Marxist theories. Hitler studied the Lenin-Stalin police state and modeled much of his own totalitarianism on their design. There was a lot of the KGB in the design of the Gestapo. The central power of the state and its authority over people was central to Lenin, Stalin, Hitler, and Mao. The individual human disappeared in the search for historic power and control. Now that kind of reminds me, and it sheds some light on the current state of the FBI and the DOJ and the DNC and all of these other people who are seeking to destroy our president. And we are about to witness a fascinating experiment in whether Marxism with big data can work. Xi Jinping is implementing a system by which Chinese people are heavily surveyed and assigned citizenship ratings based on their social media activity, patriotism, productivity, fitness routines, and other behaviors. Those with low scores can be barred from commercial flights, some trains, or from having their children enrolled in some schools. Deng Xiaoping saved the Chinese communists from popular rejection by advocating a system of free enterprise within the communist structure after Mao's death. He argued that unless the Chinese economy was dramatically improved, China would not prosper. Further, he understood that if the system didn't reward the Chinese people, there would be a widespread rejection of the Communist Party. In his famous Southern tour of China in January and February of 1992, Deng made the case for free markets in which productivity, not politics, decided winners and losers. Now Xi Jinping is reversing the market-oriented decentralization of Deng. As he made clear in his recent speech on Marx, have your web browser translated, he regards Marx, not Adam Smith, as the central guide for China's future. If indeed Marxism has defeated Deng Xiaoping in the corridors of Chinese power, we are in for a terrible experiment in tyranny. I wrote about President Xi Jinping's aggressive power gathering in China in my new book, Trump's America, The Truth About Our Nation's Great Comeback. This, by the way, was written by Newt Gingrich. I will doubtlessly write more on this in future columns, but for the moment simply note that no experiment in Marxism has come out well. Centralized control leads people to lie and cheat. Lying and cheating leads to the leadership demanding more secret police with more rules and more punishment. The system becomes a downward spiral in which humans are sacrificed to the power of the few. This is Marx's legacy, and President Xi should study it carefully before taking China off the path of economic growth and onto the path of tyrannical growth. Your friend, Newt Gingrich. Now, considering that, our Constitution provides protection for the individual to benefit from their own efforts and to take responsibility for themselves, not for others, for themselves. But they own their, whatever they struggle for, they own, and no one should be able to take it away from them, and that includes by taxes or any other kind of nonsense, and to finance a big centralized government. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about education in the country today, and especially in Arizona. And the teachers are complaining that they didn't get enough, and they don't get enough salary, and so on and so forth. Yet they have gone to the legislature and registered their complaint, and Governor Ducey caved immediately into their demands, which was something that he really had no right to do, nor did the legislature have anything to do with it, because the school boards are the ones that actually take care of the distribution of the funds that are collected by taxes and other ways to the teachers and to others. But a lot of the superintendents and the school boards are controlled by the unions or by local contractors. And so they get their funds to do repairs and buildings and so on and so forth, and they try to keep everybody in the bucks except for the teachers, because they're the last ones that gain any kind of benefit from all of the taxes that are collected. So we're going to pay some more bills, and we'll be back with some information about the school system.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
41, 31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Okay, we're back. Now, this year, Maricopa County voters approved every bond and override proposed by the county school districts. As a result, hundreds of millions of dollars in property taxes will be used to pay for various projects, from new buildings or buses. In the case of the bonds, to increase teachers' salaries and textbooks in the case of overrides. Putting the funding on the ballot lets communities decide whether to exceed the state's funding. When the new funds go toward large capital projects, districts have to decide who will do the work of designing, then building, or refurbishing school facilities. State procurement laws dictate how school districts choose the companies that will do that work and are designed to ensure government contracts are awarded based on an honest evaluation of the applicants, not cronyism. But a closer inspection of which companies end up securing the contracts reveals a small group of builders dominate the K-12 design and construction sector and get the bulk of their work in Arizona from school districts. The same companies that end up with an oversized portion of K-12 work also largely finance the campaigns aimed at persuading the public to approve the proposals, often donating identical amounts to the same committees on the same dates. In contrast, Arizona's public universities, community colleges, and municipalities see significant greater diversity among vendors for similar design and construction projects. Unlike candidate campaigns, where corporations cannot make direct contributions and individuals can only contribute up to certain limits, an attempt to prevent undue influence over elected officials, campaigns for bonds and overrides can accept contributions in any amount and from corporations. The financial support vendors provide the campaigns goes beyond what's publicly disclosed in campaign finance reports. A dark money group named the Arizona Coalition for Education Excellence was established specifically to hide additional financial support from schools' vendors. The same company's executives also often sit on the boards of school district foundations, and the companies routinely sponsor the foundations and their activities. Some architects and contractors said they've been told by district employees the procurement process has been co-opted and that the appearance of competition is a facade. Officials from the state school facilities board, which administers a comparatively small fund that pays for targeted school facilities, said they've heard rumors the district procurement process had become an old boys club. New laws requiring additional oversight for procurement practices may be necessary, SFB officials said, and the agency has already considered sponsoring legislation to that effect. AZCIR and KJZZ interviewed dozens of sources and scrutinized hundreds of campaign finance reports, business filings, nonprofit disclosures, and public procurement records to bring these relationships into focus. Together, the pieces reveal a symbiotic network that connects the financial interests of vendors with the needs of schools. Sources representing the builders who benefit from the system all said their motivation is to help children succeed, and school officials said the state's procurement guidelines keep the process fair. But critics said the realities of Arizona's education funding needs, coupled with rules allowing unlimited corporate financing of ballot measures and loose oversight of procurement, leads to too cozy relationships between builders and the school districts they seek contracts from. They question whether competition is diminished given these conditions, and whether the large dollar school projects benefit a small group of builders more than Arizona's students or taxpayers. One district's recent struggles related to a construction project highlight similar issues. In the Scottsdale Unified School District, the rollout of plans for a $229 million overhaul to its schools has led to the district hiring outside attorneys to look into whether procurement practices were properly followed. And the Arizona Attorney General's office opened an investigation into the possibility of both civil and criminal violations there. Now, I want you to understand something that needs to be understood by everyone. Having teachers or anybody who is affiliated with the school system, being a superintendent of schools, being in charge of anything that has to do with the funding of schools, is a gross disruption of fairness to the public. Nobody employed by the school system should be in any way, shape, or form able to rule on or find for financial assistance or contracts or anything else that any school district needs. What you need, not as educators, as school superintendents, but business people. Because whether we like it or not, government is a business and should be run like a business. The funding is not never ending, but we need to do it in a way that is effective, cheap, and fair to the taxpayer. And the lining of people's pockets should not be a thing that happens because they are connected to the school district. In any case, it's time that we woke up. It's time that we quit accepting the people who are presenting themselves as knowledgeable when actually what they are greedy and socialistic supporters. So, wake up, folks. One of the things that the Constitution gave us was the ability to make our own choices. But in doing so, we had to take responsibility for the choice that we made. In other words, if you went to school, learned, got a job, didn't have a baby before you were married, had a good job, made yourself aware of what's going on in the world, that led to the fact that you would be more or less successful. And today, if they're urging you to go to college, the only reason they want you to go to college is to complete your indoctrination as a socialist, mindless clone, part of the collective. In a beehive, you'd be a drone and not a queen bee or a worker bee. Now, one of the problems with socialism is that, as Margaret Thatcher said, sooner or later you run out of other people's money. So you can give all the free stuff in the world, but it's not free to somebody. Somebody's paying the bill. Our country became great because we had the freedoms and we had the abilities given unto us by the Constitution, which was given to us by the Lord above and our founders. And today, ladies and gentlemen, the socialists, the progressives, the globalists want to take that away and turn us all into drones, slaves, and get rid of a good portion of us, especially the ones that don't go along with the deal. There's something I read the other day that just kind of got to me, and I can't understand how anybody doesn't see it. You know, Islam is a false ideology. And the feminists in this country are not saying a word about the women that are treated like fourth-class citizens and left as slaves to the men, can't go out on their own, can't drive, can't do anything without having a male member of the family along with them. And the feminists have nothing to say about that in this country. But they support the Islamists tremendously. And the reason they do it is that they think that they're going to wind up sharing the power that they will gain with the Islamists. What they don't understand is that the communists will actually wind up taking out the minor supporters of them and leaving the communists in control. So the Islamists will go, and the feminists will go, and all of the professors who are leaning to the communist side will wind up being destroyed also. And so the communists will be the ones in charge at the end. And we all know what communism does. Just take a look at Venezuela. Just take a look at Russia. Just take a look at every other country that's where socialism has been tried. So now we're going to pay some more bills, and we'll see you in the next segment.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. From Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. I realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hey, we're back. Now, you know, the Democratic Party today is become more and more far left. And it has been, well, you know, when they take and want to put as President Bernie Sanders, is it? Then we know just how badly they want to be socialistic. The fact that Hillary had to rig the election so that it would be her that was getting the nomination, and the fact that she is such a corrupt person is amazing that anybody voted for her in the past election. Fortunately, we elected Donald J. Trump. And it's amazing the hatred that is aimed at him and his family and anybody who supports him. But yet, take a look at the accomplishments that he has had happen in his first year and a half or 2 years of his administration. The lowest minority unemployment ever. More people working, and we've been pulled out of the bad climate deals, which were nothing but a scam to take our American tax money and enslave us even further to the globalists. So that's just a couple of things. Then just look at all the regulations that have been eliminated and all of the other things that have been going on that have made the people in the United States much more confident and willing to expand their business, willing to hire people. Look at all the bonuses that they got. the tax reduction, and so on and so forth. And yet the Democrats can't stand it. They are just as full of hatred as they can possibly be. Now, I know that, well, I've seen people and talked to people who hear what's going on in the school system. And the kids in the schools aren't learning anything. They're not learning how to read. They're not learning how to figure. They're not learning anything. And as far as their civics are concerned, they're not learning anything about that either. In fact, one person told me that she asked somebody if they knew a young one, about 17 or so, if they knew what the Constitution was. And they had no idea what it even was. And not that they knew anything about it, they didn't even know what it was. And so these people are easily led into a hatred for the country because that's what they've been taught. And it's a shame that we are too complacent to fight back and stand up and stop this nonsense. So, you know, folks, if you support our president, if you support the United States, then you got to get up and get off your couch, turn off the news, turn off the fake news, and learn something about what's really going on in the country. It'll be amazing, and you will be shocked. So please, please wake up. So anyway, that's where we are today. And boys and girls, we need to get going and get our message across. So get out there and learn what's going on. What? Oh, yeah, watch. Okay. And watch what's going on and get acknowledged, get some smarts, and pass it on to all of your friends and neighbors. And so stay tuned for the Chips and Salsa Show. And that's coming up just in a few minutes.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. Chicago, Chicago,